Nismah, welcome to Part of My Success.
Get ready, it's the new edition. Your favorite morning meditation. Hey, it's me, part in my success. I'm a hot mess.
I'm in Los Angeles. Where are you? Are you in Boston?
I am in Western Massachusetts, actually, about 2 hours from Boston.
Where in Western Mass?
It's a little place called Gill. It's like about an hour north of Springfield.
Okay. My best friend lived in Wakefield, Massachusetts.
Yeah, and so I would go there for like Thanksgiving and Easter every year.
Mhm.
And so we would just like go around all of like Western Mass and hang out. She had a lot of family out there as well, so I think that's really
Yeah,
funny.
cool.
Yeah. No, but yeah, you went to Berkeley and I
I
went to
did,
UC.
yeah.
We're such
Nice.
cute little Massachusetts
Yes, we
folk.
are.
Are you born and raised in Mass?
No, I'm actually from New Jersey.
Oh my God. Oh, love that. I
Yeah.
have so many friends from Jersey as well. Where in
Yes, Jersey
Jersey?
strong. A little beach town called Cape May. It's on the
Cape.
very, very bottom of the state.
That's so funny. Everybody calls me May. Did you move to Boston for college, or did you move to Massachusetts for college and just stayed?
Yeah, basically, I went to college up in Boston and then I moved back to Jersey for like a year or so, more like 2 years. And then my ex actually happened to get a job back up in Boston, so we moved up there. That didn't work out, but then I stayed in the area and met my current partner and who's over here in Western Mass.
That's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. I would love to. So, I am a songwriter. I'm a music producer. I call myself a businesswoman or entrepreneur, and I mostly
Yes.
write music for film and television, so sync licensing.
Oh my gosh. What kind of movies and TV shows have you written for?
So, how do I guess the most popular ones would be like Love is Blind, Dancing with the Stars. Recently, I got a couple on, I don't know if you know the show Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis. They like redo celebrities' homes. It's cute.
That's so cool.
A couple other like a bunch of like reality TV. This Apple TV Plus show called Best Foot Forward. That was a good one. Bunch of stuff.
That's so cool. That's really amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's
So,
fun.
How do you do that on the day to day? Like what goes down?
I've been doing it long enough now that I have like a solid network of agencies that I work with, as well as a solid little group of musicians that I collaborate with. So basically, I have a quota for myself that I want to turn out a certain number of songs every month. I try to hit around 3 to 4 songs a month, um, which it's easier said than done, especially when you got a lot going on. But then I just songs to my agencies and just kind of keep going. Sync is kind of a numbers and a long-term game. So you kind of just have to keep going, keep investing, keep doing it until you see the return.
hey, so it's not like
Yeah.
you're creating songs, like it's not like you're creating the like soundtrack. You're submitting your own music all
Well,
the
it goes
time.
both ways.
Okay.
Yeah, there's both types. So you proactively create music with these certain scenes in mind. And as you do it for a while, after a while, you get good at knowing what would work and what wouldn't work, right? As you're
Hmm.
writing. But then there's the other way where they'll send you specific briefs for certain shows, and then you'll listen to that show soundtrack, and then you'll write according to that sort of direction.
So, did you study music growing up? How did you kind of get into this path?
So I didn't necessarily study music. Like I was self-taught, I guess you could say. But I fell in love with music when I was a kid. I was writing songs when I was like 7 or 8. They were terrible, but they were songs. And
They were songs.
yeah, they were songs, right? I still remember a couple of them, believe it or not.
I love
But
them.
don't ask me to share here. I refuse.
I was so close
But
to it too, so I'm glad
I know,
you said
no,
something.
it's
I
so
was like, "Hmm,
embarrassing. Maybe another time.
okay.
But yeah, so we had this piano out in my garage and I just would go out there and play around, and I eventually just taught myself to play piano and then taught myself to play guitar, and then I took choir. I did all the music geek things.
I was also a choir kid.
I was forced to sit down at the piano every day for 30 minutes a day from 4 years old until I graduated high school.
Easy.
Yeah, no, crazy. But like,
I loved singing and I loved being in like chamber choirs and all of that. So that's really cool. But you taught yourself guitar as well?
Yeah, I taught myself everything. That was the time when YouTube was just starting to get popular, and
mhm.
so I mean, it wasn't like it is today, where you can pretty much get a full-on degree on YouTube. But
Sure.
there were videos, there were people teaching you how to play guitar, and so I found them, and I just, you know, did what I could and taught myself the chords and everything, and
And so with the music that you make now, is it mostly, would you say like digital, or are you still like fully recording tracks on the guitar and piano in your room?
it's a mix. I would say less organic now, like less of those real
Mhm.
instruments now, just because there's so much available digitally that it doesn't really make sense. Like I can get a sample of a guitar played 10 times better than I can play it. Why would I play it? That's just,
Yeah,
to me, that doesn't make sense. I do miss that like live tracking environment where you get
yeah.
6 people together in a room and you record till 6 a.m. and, I don't miss that part, but I miss the
I was like, I don't know about 6 a.m., but the rest of it, no, I kind of feel that right now. Like I'm also kind of working on my own like album right now currently, and I'm really struggling because it's so hard to just like start. I feel like, or even once I hit like a rut or something like that, yeah, like asking for help and like finding someone who does know better than me, but then also to be like, what do I need to be doing? Where are we going? Where do I get these samples? So can you tell us a little bit about like how do you start like a song? Like say you aren't even given a brief, you have to just preemptively create something. Where do you begin?
Great question. So, I mean, I think everybody has a different process and a different preference for where they like to start. Personally, like to start with the concept. So, what the song is about, so to speak. So, I have this running, list of concepts, song seeds, whatever you want to call them, on in a notes, on
Yeah.
the notes app in my phone. And anytime I'm needing to sit down and write or just craving inspiration, I just go through and I find one that kind of excites me. And then from that point, I'll generally start writing a chorus or a hook or a refrain, or I'll start building out the concept and what I really
Mhm.
want it to say and how I want to say it. And
Mhm.
then I'll start writing the verses, and I kind of work backwards that way.
For like movies and TV, it's usually not like lyrics at all, right? Are you just purely basing like going on melodies? Like how
No,
are
it's
exactly are
both.
you? Oh, it is both? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge need for instrumentals too. I mean, I would say a lot of the times you only hear the instrumental part of the song when you're watching a show, but there's also a huge need for lyrics relevantly, especially in TV, where you're getting into some really like, emotional, dramatic scenes. Um, but yeah, it's a balance, but they'd rather have the lyrics to choose to work with than no lyrics at all. And of course, you're not just sending them. By them, I mean the agency and the production companies who end up using your music. You're not just sending them like one little finished file. You're sending them everything that you've made, like every track. So they put together the pieces that they like and that work for the scene.
So they can like fully just go in. And so are you sending like, what do you use, like Logic?
Yeah, I use
Or
Logic. So you'll send them all of the drums and then all of the guitars, all of the
Got it.
piano. So that way they have a lot to choose from. And your song might sound great on its own, but they need it to work for a literal 30-second spot. So they have to slice and dice in a
Yeah.
very clever way to make it all feel seamless when in reality they've, done clever things to it.
That's so cool. Are they asking you at all to like send them, like, are they ever asking you to send like a 30-second clip, or like what is that? Are you fully just sending like a 3-minute song? Like how is this working?
Full songs. Yeah, it's usually
okay.
full songs. Again, they want the most options. I mean, nowadays songs are getting shorter because people's attention spans are getting shorter, but generally they want at least 2 minutes. They consider that a full song now. So they want at least 2 minutes of at least a full cycle of verse, chorus, or verse pre-chorus, whatever that song consider a full cycle. And then they're just kind of picking which parts are going to work for their needs.
Some of these song seeds, can you like throw out a couple examples for us? Like, how do you usually like, what's something that, you know, inspires a seed?
Oh man, this is such a hard thing to explain. I feel like it's a nerdy songwriter thing. It's like I call it like songwriter brain, and I'm always scanning my environment and the input that I'm getting for similarities between things that you wouldn't normally think work together.
Mhm.
Like it's really hard to explain, but I don't know, let's say you're listening to a conversation. I'll give you an example, right? A
Okay,
real life example. And
great.
this is a song I've written already.
Okay.
So I mean, feel free to write on this concept too. But this was a few years ago. I remember I was watching a TV show. I forget what it was called, but there was a scene, and this girl was talking to her friend, and she was talking about this relationship and why she had such a hard time with commitment. Anyway, one of the lines, they were kind of going back and forth, and then one of the lines was, "Well, have you ever considered that sometimes people stay, you know?" And I just was like, wow, sometimes people stay. And then I just felt like that line was so loaded. And so to me, that was like a solid concept, because
Mhm.
most songs are written about how people leave and not
Yeah.
about how sometimes people actually stay, how that experience can be really life changing. So that, just paying attention in that way, that's why, again, I call it songwriter brain, because
Yeah.
a non-songwriter would be watching that show and just kind of, carry on. But I heard that line and it just stuck out to me as something really special. Like there was a story there. And so just one example of where I get my inspiration from.
Yeah, that's really cool. And do you release any of your own music under your own name or under anything else that we could find online?
It's not been my main thing, but I'm on Spotify. I'm on all the streaming platforms. I have a few songs out. It's something I hope to get more into in the next couple of years, as I shift focus from my other projects. But yeah, you can find me on Spotify, just Nismah Osman.
Amazing. Okay, we'll put a little clippity here for the folks that'll be really excited.
Schooled your whole life, so public school is going to be challenging.
Here we go.
Step at a time until it's mine. I'm making my way up to the top. I am unstoppable.
But what is the bigger goal then?
So the bigger goal is, I've been doing sync now for over 7 years on a more concerted effort basis, if you want to say. I technically I've been doing it since I was 13, but I had to do life and be a kid, so I won't count those years. But more officially, the last 7 years I've been doing sync, and I've just learned over and over that it is one of the most effective, if not the most effective, ways of actually earning income from music. I love that it also doesn't come with any of these peripheral requirements to like post on social media and get people to stream your music, because you're making the money from the placement, right? And you get to
Yeah.
work on your terms, especially if you learn how to produce or team up with a talented producer. It's very low cost. The big goal for me is to continue in that direction and just get a bunch of placements, but also to help other artists who want to learn how to do that and maximize that. I want to help people get out of this constant social media rut. And I don't know if you heard, but Spotify is now not paying people under 1,000 streams, and a couple other things. So streaming is even a less reliable source of income than it was, somehow less reliable than it was a month ago. So
Wow.
that's kind of the big picture, is to kind of just reach out to the world and artists and help them kind of build something up, and continue to release more of my music down the line. So
Yeah, absolutely. Can you explain a little bit of what sync is? Is it like
yeah.
a platform or what?
So sync is the term. It's a short
Okay.
term for sync licensing, which is also a short term for synchronization licensing. So
Okay.
it's just the term that describes the process getting a song placed into a spot. And a spot would be like a TV show or a movie or an ad. And then it's the process of being paid for the use of your song. Really what's involved, it's pretty simple. There's three key players involved. So at the top you have the production company who's making the spot. So let's say Target has a new commercial for the holidays or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So Target would then need to work with a music supervisor. So I guess there's 4 key players, and the music supervisor's job is to source the music. So give them options to use, right? And the licensing agencies, they kind of act like the middlemen between the songwriters and the music supervisors, and their job is to find music and put it in a catalog so that when a music supervisor requests a song for the production company, the agency will send them songs from their catalog. And then that's where you and I come in, where we're making music and submitting it to these agencies to hold in their catalog for when opportunities come. So does that explain it?
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. So how do you get these connections to be able to submit to agencies, or are there like platforms that make it easier? How can artists start doing this?
Yeah, well, I mean, shameless self-promotion. If you work with me, I introduce you to them. But if you don't want to go that route, if you want to do it yourself and figure it out yourself, just Google music licensing agencies and just submit blindly and hope that something sticks. Or
Is that how you started?
yeah, I started from nothing. I started from listening to a podcast from Ari Herstand like 7 years ago, and he was talking about this lady named Kathy Heller who was doing sync, and she had this course, and it was like $1,000, and it was like all my like post-college vacation money that I had saved up, and I was like, fuck it, I'm doing this course, and I spent all the money on the course. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse, but and I just like learned how to do it, and then it was just like a course. It was like a 5-module course, and after that it was like figure it out. There was no agency connections. There was no.
What did the course like? What was it about? Was it about like actually creating music or like doing production?
A little bit of everything. It was like a broad overview of how sync works. Basically, what I just summarized, but in a more
long
in
form.
a more yeah, exactly, long form way. And then just tips and tricks for how to write music specifically geared towards sync, because it is a little different than writing just for your own artist project. But yeah, that was pretty much it, and some inspiration and some mindset stuff, and then you just kind of figure it out. And so from that moment, I just kind of figured it out. You can do it yourself. You can do it that way, or as I always recommend, get connected with somebody who knows what they're doing and can bridge the gap and potentially save you 7 years of trial and error.
For sure. Well, is this would this be a recommendable salary wise?
What do you mean salary wise?
That's not a sentence. Is this a competitive paying like pursuit for a career? Really?
Oh yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, how much do you get paid like per song?
I mean, the placements, they come in, it's very varied, right? So, but you can get a placement for a couple of dollars, usually up to $500 per placement, $2,000 per placement, $15,000 per placement, upwards to in the hundreds to $200,000 per placement, depending on the size of the corporation and you get a song in a Super Bowl ad or something, which they're harder to come by. And I'm not saying that you'll get a song in a Super Bowl ad if you just start, but
but you could.
There's good money. Yeah, you could, and it's a spectrum, right? So that's like the Super Bowl ad is the top of the spectrum. It's not there's that or bust.
Because there's a lot of musicians, especially living in LA, that are literally just going around, praying for a Hail Mary, and like, I think this is a really great part-time job or even full-time job opportunity for somebody that is hoping to still work in music and like needs to supplement their income if they're trying to, pursue their own personal artistic career on the side or anything like that, because at least you're still like creating. Do you feel like it at all like drains your creativity having to do this?
So if you try to do everything, I always recommend in sync that you kind of try to niche down and figure out. And this is part of the program that I teach artists to what I call find their creative superpower and then learn how to leverage that. Because if you're already really great at writing pop, then there's no sense in trying to do electronic Irish folk music to try to get those placements, right? Like, it's a bad example, but there's power in leveraging what you're already good at, so you don't feel like you're starting from nothing, because that can make you feel drained if you feel like you're starting from nothing, where you're not. No musician is. You already have all these inherent skills and passions that you just need to learn how to kind of manipulate in a way that's gonna make you more money, right?
Reframe.
And that way it's still fun for
Yeah.
reframe, exactly. And that way it still feels fun.
And so it is very much so like doing it on your own time. And could you say that, like, is it possible to go through, if say somebody has like 50 songs that they've like made and recorded and they're just existing, and can you just like submit those to an agency and see what happens?
Yeah, I would say just the only thing I'd be careful about is to make sure that you have the session files or can access them at some point. Because if an agency does accept the song, they're going to want the stems, like we talked about before. And if you can't provide the stems, then they can't use the song, because they have to be able to deliver the stems to the production company's music editor to be able to
cut it down if they want
slice
to.
and dice.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody out there, if you have a bunch of music lying around and you need to make some money and you have the stems, you still have, would that just be like the music file, I'm guessing, like the original music file?
Yes, the session file. Yeah, the Logic file, the session file. Yeah, the Logic file.
The Logic file. And then you just have to go through and download the individual, like each line, basically.
Yeah. And you don't even have to do that.
You could make $1 million on a Super Bowl commercial.
You could dream
you
big.
too.
I'm trying to think, what other tips or tricks can you tell us right now for anybody wanting to start off?
I would say if somebody wanted to start learning how to do this today, right? If they wanted to get off this podcast and start doing this, the first thing I would do is go to YouTube and just search music licensing and just watch the first like 4 or 5 videos that come up. It should tell you really everything you need to know. Basically what I explained earlier, but there's some more details that you should know about. And then the second thing I would do right after that should take you about 30 minutes to an hour, right? Get on Facebook, search sync licensing groups, right? And then join a few. Right? They're free. Don't pay for anything, right? There's a few groups, just join them and then just start listening to people's music that they're posting, read the posts, connect with a couple of people, ask them some questions, share your music, get feedback on your music. Hey, what do you guys think? Do you think this would work for sync? And then just start building those relationships, because I guarantee you, if you're in one of those groups, some of those people are already signed to agencies. And if you start collaborating with them, bam, now you're connected to their network, right? I mean, that's what all the music industry is, right? Is relationships. So start building some of those relationships. And you don't need 1,000,001 relationships to have success in sync. You just need the right few relationships. So that's what I recommend to people who want to do this today. Get support, get help, I always recommend, if you can get a mentor who knows what they're doing to help you avoid the mistakes, avoid the gap of knowledge, or to fill that gap of knowledge.
All the gatekeeping that happens in this industry too. You just gotta just DM Nismah, and
exactly.
She'll obviously, after a lengthy application process, potentially take you on as a mentee. And it'll be great. And maybe you too could earn $1 million in a Super Bowl commercial.
That's what we're going for. We're dreaming big.
We're dreaming big. My boyfriend actually just showed up to a modeling commercial shoot last week. And it turns out it was a Volkswagen Super Bowl commercial, and he was just there, and he was like, oh, okay. I was like, why are you like this?
Wow.
Yeah. So you too, it's possible.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so wonderful. You are so knowledgeable and such a great music license mentor to all of our little babies who are out here right now, who too want to work in sync. And I will get all of your info, if you could, we'll have like your Instagram and all of those things down below. It's going to be super exciting. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you.
I always have fun. I talk about it for hours.
Yes, oh my gosh. All right, let's talk soon. All right?
Yeah, we'll do.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right, bye.
Are you PMSing?